And then for the affordable thing, you still cannot beat the Tesla Model Y, only because you can be half for so cheap, great feature set.
I think the Tesla Cybertruck might be more of a novelty item and with higher price points.
You know, first of all, I'm not a Tesla skeptic. I'm a huge fan of the company and I love the products. I think they're the best cars on the road. I'm a skeptic of Elon Musk's management style at this point.
All that and more. So let's get to it. Now that is a healthy pop in the pre-market, up over 1%, sitting at 159.20. It would appear today would be a good day to place a protective put for the following week. I mean, earnings is next week, so who knows? I don't think the stock popped on Powerwalls being sold at Best Buy, did it? Is it merely coincidence?
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
I don't know, but hurricane season is coming up for people here down in Texas. If you're looking for a quiet, clean way to power your home, there is no better way to power your home than a Tesla Powerwall.
Many moons ago, when you went to buy a car, you had your choice of brands, but you could only really get one kind of car, gas-powered. Now, the more climate-conscious shoppers get two other options. You get electric vehicles, and you get the option of a hybrid.
Climate conscious? How about motherfuckers that don't want to go to the gas station as much? I bought my first climate conscious vehicle, the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid, not because I wanted to save the trees, oh no, I wanted to save the paper in my wallet. It has been my experience that we're not going to get back down to 79 cents per gallon. Something must change. I must change.
So, if you have a budget for a new car and don't know what to choose, don't worry. Yahoo Finance's very own senior autos reporter, Pras Subramanian, is here to help.
And if Pras ends up f***ing this up, don't worry, I got your back.
So Pras, what should we be considering when we're choosing between an EV and a hybrid?
Yeah, you know, there's a lot to consider there between these two different types of cars. You know, recently we've seen EV kind of ownership and interest kind of come down, whereas hybrids has sort of exploded in terms of interest in sales. So let's take a look at what you really need to look at when you're trying to actually consider. So looking at kind of, you know, with EVs, looking at prices, and Americans talking about how fewer Americans are interested in EVs compared to a year ago. Prices have been going up. So cost is a big consideration versus hybrids. Hybrid prices are like around 42.5 versus an EV 55-ish. So that's a big concern there. But then also maintenance, right? Maintenance is cheaper for an EV, but more for a traditional gas car or hybrid. So they're looking at that. But then also, of course, there's the insurance thing. A big thing we talk about this week is insurance. And EVs generally have higher insurance costs because they're a bit more complicated to repair. But we're hearing some insurers like Progressive talk about how as they get more data into that, they can actually bring those costs down.
Pras actually giving some real decent information here. Let's look at that cost of EVs versus hybrids. Well, yeah, the average EV is gonna cost you an arm and a leg, while the average hybrid may not. But Tesla's Models 3 and Y both solve for this equation. Both can be under the hybrid price of $42.5, depending on which model that you'd like. Nail on the head when it comes to maintenance. What's an oil change? What's a fucking spark plug? All those maintenance issues that come with car ownership that you loathe evaporate with an EV. As far as insurance, I mean, I think I had the best automobile insurance you could possibly get with USAA. Had to ditch them out for Tesla insurance because Tesla insurance understands their vehicles better than anybody else.
Real quick, also the kinds of trips that you do. If you're the kind of person that's going to be taking out shorter trips for errands and maybe going to work, the average American drives 37 miles a day, right? If that's your use case, I would say an EV is sort of the best use case for that. If you can charge, but you can charge at home at night or at the work site or even in your neighborhood, it's a great option for these shorter trips. If you're like a person in sales, you're driving a lot, 100 miles, 200 miles a day, probably a hybrid, a better option for you. So I think that's sort of like the use cases and how much you can afford, really going to sort of weigh in on what you get. And this is like not brain surgery, but at the same time, there's a lot more options out there for you.
In my experience, if you drive a lot, Teslas are definitely your best option. One, they've got the best batteries in their vehicles, getting the most bang for your buck for sure. Not to mention, they come standard with the NACS. The Tesla supercharger network is an invaluable asset that is open to anybody that's willing to partner with Tesla. So rebuttal to Praz, if you're driving 150, 200 miles a day and you don't have the NACS, a hybrid might be a better option for you. But if you own a Tesla, that's a no-brainer. You get the best vehicle and access to the Tesla supercharging network.
Let's get people the nitty-gritty here and the goods. I heard you had some specific picks for our buyers out there, so what are they?
We got some picks here. We got some so for instance, in the EV world, at the higher end, in my opinion, if you got the money and you wanted the nicest ride you can get, I think you can go Lucid Air if you wanted that sedan, really high performer out there, or if you want a more of an adventure vehicle, pickup, I think the Rivian is still the top pick in that space. I know the Cybertruck's out there. There's an iPhone 50 Lightning, great truck, but the Rivian is my top choice. Okay. And then for the affordable thing, you still cannot beat the Tesla Model Y, only because you can be half or so cheap, great feature set. Obviously, the Tesla supercharger network is the most ubiquitous, the best one, and it's basically an appliance, right? It's a car. It's not really like your BMW, but it's a car that gets you around town, and it looks okay.
Lucid Air, beautiful car. I just don't know if that company will be in business in the next 3 years. Rivian, that's a fairly decent truck, available and, coming down in price, kind of. But the Model Y, the best-selling vehicle in 2023, it's an appliance, but functionality, performance, safety, there's no other vehicle on the road that can compete with it. You're damn right it's not a BMW. It's better.
George, we just got done talking with Kevin Green about Tesla. One of its key up-and-coming rivals over the last few years has been Rivian.
Just to clarify, Rivian isn't competing with Tesla. They're trying to displace the internal combustion engine. All EV sales are good. In order for Rivian to become the company that many people think it should, Tesla also needs to be successful.
It sounds like it's at least got one bull in its camp on the street.
It does, at least one. I mean, I think we've talked about Rivian at least a couple times over the past year, and obviously they're selling trucks and SUVs. I see them driving around all the time. I don't necessarily consider this company's products more of a novelty. I think the Tesla Cybertruck might be more of a novelty item and with higher price points.
I imagine a lot of people were saying that about the Model S and the Model X until another platform derived the Model 3 and Y. It's funny that the Model 3 and Y wouldn't exist without the Model S and X. Is the Cybertruck just a launching point for something less novel in the space?
Nonetheless, I mean, we have talked about some of the structural challenges. Just because they're selling product doesn't necessarily mean the finances or the financials make sense, at least from an investment standpoint. And with the stock, I think, down over 60 or 70% over the last year, it's down significantly going back to its high, which was around, I think, $178 back in late 2022. But look, one of the things about the company, and this is, I think, one of the reasons some investors might be a little bit dumbfounded in terms of why the stock continues lower, is they continue to and exceed their delivery guidance. For 2023, the numbers estimated were 50,000 units. They actually delivered 57,000 units. Now, going forward for this year, they're expecting the same, about 57,000 units. And that's not bad, considering the reasons. They're expecting to improve and to tweak more operational efficiencies by 30%. And I think that this is why UBS actually is now going from a sell to neutral, the $9 price target. They see now the focus on Rivian, and I think with the environment going on with Tesla and some of the other EV manufacturers, focusing on optimizing their production facilities. And that might be a good thing, considering, like I said, the stock trading significantly below its 3-year levels.
I don't have one red cent invested in Rivian, but it does look mighty cheap right now. Rivian expects to be profitable by the end of this year. I look forward to it. RJ introduced the R2 earlier this year. This should help them in becoming profitable. It should, in theory. But as many EV manufacturers are finding out, this isn't as easy as Tesla makes it look.
Meantime, Tesla's Cybertruck is hitting roadblocks. According to the Wall Street Journal, the EV maker is delaying deliveries for its newest vehicle and not telling buyers why.
Could it be because they're waiting for a part? Over 10,000 parts and processes going into building the Cybertruck. Any one of them individually can stall the production process. As we get more stock footage of Cybertrucks piling up in parking lots, it only stands to reason that they're waiting for a part to deliver these trucks.
It's unclear how many buyers have been affected by the delays, but it just adds to the growing list of concern for Tesla investors. Tesla shares closing down nearly 3% today. The stock just a hair above a $500 billion market cap amid growing struggles across the entire EV landscape. Both Lucid and Rivian hitting all-time lows this week. Tough out there for everybody in this space. With me tonight for more on Tesla's latest stumble is Gerber Kawasaki President and CEO Ross Gerber. Ross, thank you for joining Last Call. Your firm has been divesting out of Tesla recently. First of all, tell me how much Tesla you own right now.
Currently, we own a little over 300,000 shares. When we update our 13F, and we were as high as 500,000 shares at the top in the middle of last year of our position. So we've pared our position fairly substantially.
So you've got tens of millions of dollars at stake. You're not cheering this stock on the way down. Obviously,
No.
you don't want to lose that money, but you have been a Tesla skeptic. Is there anything out there that would make you start to buy again and start to believe the narrative again?
Yeah, first of all, I'm not a Tesla skeptic. I'm a huge fan of the company, and I love the products. I think they're the best cars on the road. I'm a skeptic of Elon Musk's management style at this point.
Management style or political affiliation? I suppose it could be a little from column A and a little from column B.
Fair point.
So, what got Tesla to be as successful as it is was a very focused CEO who worked very hard for Tesla. But ever since he's left Tesla and bought Twitter.
You've heard it here first, folks. Ross Gerber has announced that Elon Musk has left Tesla for Twitter. Oh, wait. He left Tesla for SpaceX? No, he left SpaceX for Neuralink? He left Neuralink for the Borg? Get your facts straight. It appears Elon Musk is everywhere all at once. And this has been going on for quite some time.
Basically, nobody's been running the ship, and the ship is clearly having a lot of issues.
It's not like the whole EV sector is being punished in the stock market. Wait a minute.
So let's ask about some of those issues. I mean, Cybertruck is an interesting one. It's such an unusual looking vehicle. I mean, to put it nicely, I guess, it's a weird car. And a lot of people said, this is either going to be just a huge hit. There's just buyers out there that we haven't identified in the car market before who are going to love this thing and they're going to flock to it and it's going to turn the stock around completely. And other people said this is like an Edsel, coming down the road at you. How do you think that's shaking out? I mean, obviously we've seen some mechanical difficulties too, but is the Cybertruck living up to the hype?
Well, we have one Cybertruck at the office, and I'm actually one of those customers that ordered a Cybertruck. I paid for the Cybertruck and they took my money. And I've tried calling Tesla several times to see what's going on with my truck. And I really can't get a straight answer from anybody.
I imagine Ross on the phone like an infant in the backseat asking, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Just chill out, bro. You'll get it when you get it.
But the truck we've had a pretty good experience with. You drive a Cybertruck down the street, children are like running after you, staring and pointing. I've never seen the consumer excitement around a product like Cybertruck, which doesn't make it any less polarizing.
In conclusion, hybrids are the natural stepping stone for battery electric vehicles. I myself bought a hybrid in 2016 before purchasing my first Tesla Model 3. As gas prices continue to rise, and they will, more and more wallet-conscious individuals will choose the hybrid. And then when they figure out that the EVs have less maintenance and you don't go to the gas pump at all, we'll transition to battery electric vehicles. The purchasing of hybrids is music to my ears because that consumer is now a stone's throw away from buying an electric vehicle. More than likely, if they want the best product, a Tesla. All stocks in the EV space, including Rivian, is dirt cheap right now. Mass producing their R2 platform and becoming profitable are essential to Rivian's survival. And while the Cybertruck is polarizing, there's one thing you cannot deny. It attracts a lot of freaking eyeballs. And it's true, there are some delays that are coming with the production ramp of the Cybertruck, which is to be expected. I mean, have you looked at that thing? That looks like alien technology, CGI in real life when you see it on the roads. Tesla will iron out these kinks, but it's going to take some time. That's all I got for you today. Be easy. Peace.